chapter 6, and tonight I get to do something I've never done in 10 years with my church family, let alone, I was going to say 6 years, because that's how long I've been traveling to Africa, but I've never done this before. I'm so excited to do it, and I'm stunned that I have no voice. But can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And he came down with them and stood on a level place with a great crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea and Jerusalem and the seacoast of Tyre and Sidon, who came to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were what? Were cured. Subsided. Cured. And all the crowd sought to touch him. For power came out from him and healed them all. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God." So what's happened is Jesus has called his 12 apostles in John 6. That's what we looked at last week. Each of them flawed, each of them, none of them perfect, right? He's called all 12 of them, and he's given them names. So he calls all his disciples together. The whole massive hundreds group show up. Then he names 12 of them. Are you okay? Why don't you come on up and sit with Grandpa? Thanks. Come on up and sit with Grandpa. Thanks, baby. And he names 12 of them, his 12, and then he gives them a function. You are apostles. And he's giving them a function. Remember this? They're in a time when he has torn up the garden, buddy. He has picked a fight in every temple. He has stood in the face of every rabbi and told them the direction of your entire ministry is off. That's what he did. It angered his hometown synagogue so bad they went up to a cliff and tried to kill him. This was the hill that the town was built on. Okay, symbolism. Okay, the very foundation of our culture stands against exactly what you're talking about. Now he's going to leave Luke 4:18, and he's going to head into a new direction. Luke 4:18 is the beginning. Remember the PCBO? The P is the C, captives. The B, blind, and the O, oppressed. He's going to go to these groups and proclaim the favorable year of the Lord to them, right? Well, now he's going to take that teaching about the PCBO and he's going to open it up. Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you shall be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude you and revile you and spurn your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. Some of us are being hated and reviled, and we read that and we go, "That's right, I'm blessed. How dare they revile me? I'm blessed. How dare they spurn me? I'm blessed. How dare they hate me? I'm blessed." But that's not what Jesus says to do. Let me tell you what he says to do, okay? Verse 23, rejoice in that day. Don't vent and cry and whine and gripe and complain all your life away. Rejoice. And he even says, this is the craziness of Jesus. Rejoice in that day. And then he says, and leap for joy. Did I do it?
Yeah.
I did it. Thank you, Steve. All right. For behold, your reward is great in heaven, for so their fathers did to the prophets. Hey, buddy, everybody with a calling ever got destroyed, chased down, hated on. Stop crying about it. Even tonight, you could draw a line in the sand and you could say, you know what? Am I going to keep on complaining about being a follower of Jesus until one day when I see him face to face, all I'm going to have to talk about him with is all the stuff I've complained about my whole sorry, apathetic, lazy life. And I know I'm being a little tough right now, but the compassionate side of this is if you will rejoice and leap for joy. He's going to sit down with you, and he's going to love on you. He's going to encourage you. He has seen every broken moment, every hard moment, every fearful moment, every moment you felt cast aside. He loves you. But here, Jesus is talking to his disciples. Did you catch the first line? He lifted up his eyes on, and he's telling them, blessed are the poor, are those who are hungry, are those who weep, are those who are spurned, excluded, and reviled. But woe to the rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you shall be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. This is Jesus. This is not me talking. Isn't that crazy that he says that? Woe to you when all people speak well of you, for so their fathers did to the false prophets. It's heavy stuff. And you can break each one of those down. You live in a culture that tells you, blessed are you who are rich. Blessed are you who are rich. Blessed are you who are full. Oh, Lord, we're so full. We've stuffed ourselves. Our bellies are sticking out 100 yards, long as a football field. We are satisfied. We have eaten. Wow. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Jesus is trying to tap into something here. And I think it's, how do you measure success? And I want to encourage you to eradicate prideful thoughts right now. Because whether you're comfortable with this or not, everybody around you sees the fruit on your tree. They're not judging you. Judging somebody, which Jesus warns us out of at the end of Luke 6, is when you guess at somebody's internal motivations, number one, and two, you pronounce a judgment on them. They're guilty. They're this. They're that. Jesus says you're going to know them by their fruits. Fruits are on your tree. Fruits are coming out of your life. And that is what this message is about. How do we know them by their fruits? One more passage, though. I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. So there's 4 fruits right there. They're in blue. Read them with me. Love, do good, bless, pray. To one who strikes you on the cheek, offer him the other also. And for one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who begs from you. And from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. Hey, Johnny, I love this passage. I want to give to everybody who asks of me, but I got somebody asking me for something, and I don't have it to give. That's a hard place to be in, because you can't take it from somebody else to give it to them. You can't say, give me that, I'm giving it to them. That is when you truly don't have something to give, and you know that, and your heart is clear. That is when you need to make that need known to others who may be able to respond likewise. And that's a tough moment, because when you make that need known, they may not respond. The reason why I'm talking about how this passage ends up being a relational passage is because nobody has everything everybody else needs, guys. Yet Jesus is saying, give to who? Everyone who begs from you. So what he's saying is, you can't escape the fact that people in need have to have their needs met. But you also can't escape the fact that you may be very limited in what you have to give. And that's not, remember, woe to those who are rich. Remember that part? That's not a sign that you're blowing it in life at all. At all. It's just a sign that you need to reach out. This is why we don't neglect the gathering together of believers. You know, which Hebrews 10 warns us against. Or we commit ourselves to being together. Because how could you ever make known the need of somebody else to the group? You know who you're going to make it known to? Me. Hey, Johnny, I got somebody with a need. Can you meet it? And why will you make it known to me? Because I do most of the talking at this gathering, which is unfortunate, I think, sometimes. I think if we shared the talking load a little bit, we would feel more like we're a team. So we're starting the teaching team. I've talked about it with the leadership team multiple times. I'm starting this team. We're going to do trainings together, not like weekly, nothing like that. And we're going to assign Sundays, and we are going to do a teaching team because we need to be hearing from one another. And also, I need you on the hook. I don't ever, okay, I was going to sound like a boast. God help me. I'm not boasting. Take it for what it's worth, but you get my best every week. Take that for what it's worth. I'm not saying my best is great. I'm just saying you get my best. And that doesn't mean when I'm here. That means all the time I'm spending praying for you, calling on people you don't know I'm calling on, reaching out to people you don't know who I'm reaching out to. I don't publish my outlook and I don't take a selfie every time I meet with somebody in my office like some pastors do. And I don't feel that I earned the call to be a pastor. And I don't know if you feel that, like, that awe that Jesus would want to use you. But you need to, because it'll put you in the right place of fire. It'll put you in a place of thankfulness. You'll stop worrying about, when am I going to get a rest? You'll grab your Sabbath. You'll stop grabbing Sabbath every single day. And you will use those waking hours for Him. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you're so thankful that He has chosen you. I hope I'm not failing to connect. I want to connect with you right now. Give to everyone who begs from you. From one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. The people closest to me that have been within arm's reach of me know that I don't ever accept back repayment. I've never loaned $1 a day in my life to anybody. I'm telling you, I'm right about that. And if you spend your time loaning things to your friends or family and expecting it back and then thinking that you're teaching them something about responsibility with that, you're crazy. All you're doing is killing them from the moment, because see, what Satan does is this. Oh, all right, that son's indebted to that mother. Perfect. I'm going to attack the son, because this is the time he's going to want to go to the mother. But if that debt rises up in his head, he won't go. That's all debt does. And I didn't invent this. My parents modeled this for me, guys. They did this for me. You know, and I see that in the gospel. Whoever takes your goods, do not demand them back. As you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. We used this slide last week. This is where we want to be, in the middle. That's where you fight a bully, is where God, the church, and the world are coming together. Not where God and the church is separate from the world, which says, world, we're better off without you. So then God has to go and work with the world, because he can't depend on his church. And the world is waking up to injustice. And guess who they're getting angry at? The church. Hey, but wait a second. Here's this group of people over here. They all say they believe in injustice. Well, where are they? Where are they on this issue? Why aren't they lining up with us? And then anger and all this other stuff comes out because God and the world overlap is not enough. And we talked a couple weeks ago about the church world overlap. I remember my friend Meg, who would go into a strip club and give free mani-pedis to the girls. The managers would always let her in. And by the time she got done with one foot and was moving to the other, those girls were weeping because she was sowing the gospel and praying for them right up into their hearts the whole time. And girls were getting rescued out of that sex industry. And she would exit that strip club and what would she find in the parking lot many times? The church across the street picketing those girls and those people that would attend there. Which, if you think about it, if a girl's going to be rescued out of human trafficking into freedom, where are they going to want to go? To some church facility, right? That's supposed to be a safe place. The church seems to think that the facility represents who we're supposed to be, and we can say whatever we want. But Jesus didn't die on a cross and rise from the dead so you could call this building God's house. Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead so that you would be God's house. Whoever would love him, my Father and I will come and make our abode in him. That's John 14:23. That's what Jesus wants. And then 3 promises about love. And I am trying to mess with you through these 3. But I don't know if I'm going to be successful, so I'm announcing it. All right? You're going to be like, oh, I love these scriptures. But I'm going to try to mess with you, okay? Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Isn't that awesome? Let us love one another, for love is, and everyone who loves is, and the one who does not love does not know God is love. Love is not what you feel towards somebody else. And it can't be more clear about it than that. Love is action. Love is action. Right now in my own kids' lives, I'm dying for an adult that would say, I want to be that person that's not John and not Amanda, but will enrapture them with the love of Jesus and with the Word of God. I pray for that every day. I'm dying to see it happen in their lives. When I do, I'm going to strip down my loincloth and dance in the streets like David. And I'm not saying that to criticize anybody or what our wonderful Miss Stacy, who helps us out from week to week, is great. I want my kids to grow up in a community that knows, man, my dad's not alone. There are other awesome men and women out there. They talk the way my dad talks. They walk the way my dad walks. They come to me with questions of death you would not believe. Already sharing the gospel with kids at school, coming home, getting grief. And I feel like sometimes, man, I just need my village here. You know, I don't have all the answers. But let me tell you something. Love is seeing people in your life the way you would see Sidney and Elijah. It's not saying, oh, I've got my favorites here, but I don't see them that way. Love is seeing them the way you would see your own babies and going after those people and serving them. And 90% of the time, that's what love is serving. It's action, it's serving in some way. Well, how do I serve? Well, Luke 6, Jesus gives his disciples their function, right? He declares their function. You know, your apostles, that's their function, to serve. He says, you must make disciples. Who make disciples? You must love your neighbor as yourself. These are all expressions of service. I'm sorry. But the weeks that talk about Amanda, she's never here. I don't know why that is. You remember this picture? This is last summer when the detox off screens took place. My kids need to get back on the wagon. Or is it back off the wagon? I can't remember. Which is it? Because screens have showed back up. Not a ton. But they've shown back up. At the same time, other things have shown up. That little girl right there, who's back in the nursery right now, found this the other day. She dug it out of my stuff. This is Zaida, little boy, 12 years old, lives in an HIV/AIDS community. She grabs this stuff out of my bag, and this is not canned photos. I'm not like, Lucy, will you sit at the counter? I walked in, and this is what I saw. And she says, Sister, will you read me about Zaida? And they open it up, and inside it says, Zaida, I like to play soccer. My favorite part of school is science. And Lucy said, I like soccer. I want to play soccer with Zaida. And I was like, that's really cute. We sponsor 3 kids, and I can't do a 4th, and I'd have to do Dave Ramsey again to figure out where that extra $39 a month is going to come from, because that's what it costs to sponsor kids, $39 a month. Well, then the preschool teacher said to me, when she picked her from school, is this important? Because your daughter was carrying it around with her to every art station. Yeah. And then at night, we were finding it on her pillow. At night, she was packing it. So we are sponsoring Zaida. That's the end of it. I'm not going to be cold-hearted. I'm doing my Dave Ramsey envelope system over again. We will find a way. But look at this. Look at these kids dialoguing about this. I mean, I can't believe I got these photos, man. And Lucy had so much joy just connecting with this boy. And she kept saying, I want to meet him. I want to meet him. Now, I'm bringing this up because when we see that as adults, we think, oh, that's so cute. You know? And I think actually it's not cute. I think it's what we're supposed to be doing with every person who has need in our lives. We're supposed to have the heart of a child, and we're supposed to be responsive. Obey first, ask questions later. Oh, John, wait a second. I need to be wise, and my Proverbs tells me to do this. I'm telling you, you can Proverbs yourself out of anything. And I love the book of Proverbs, but you can't. That bold moment of obedience, that quiet whisper, it happened all the time. One happened for me during this church every night. I'd never had it before. Obeyed, praise God. And I'm telling you, the fruit is already there, like, yes, you know, so pumped. But I think I know what's happening. I don't want to make an argument about that. They went up there, okay, good. That guy's a little slow tonight. That's all right. We still love you, buddy, okay? All right. Is it bothering you that it's blinking? You good? Cool. So what I think is that Lucy is actually comfortable in the church God world space. More comfortable than maybe I am sometimes. Because she doesn't know the difference. Does that make sense? She doesn't know when she's in preschool, she's in the world. When she's at home, she's with her family. When she's with the church family, she's with the church. She just knows all the people that she loves and wants to be with, and the joy just comes out of her, you know? And I think, what is happening there that we can learn from? And that's what I want to talk about tonight. I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is among men, and he will dwell among them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be among them, and he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. And there will no longer be any death, there will no longer be any mourning, or crying, or pain. The first things have passed away. And this is always used in movies, when actually the opposite is true. All people are doing are crying. Do you realize that? In Titanic, right before the Rose goes, this is it! And the ship is about to break in half. And that's when they show the priest spouting out the scripture. Guess what? This isn't something just to tell yourself when life is going to hell. That is real. I want you to count with me how many times God says he's going to be among his people. Are you ready? And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is among men, and he will dwell among them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be among them, and he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. This is Genesis 1 vision. This is Genesis chapter 1. Hey, where are you? Genesis chapter 2 and 3. Why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? I want to be with you. Oh, we're naked. We're naked. God has always just wanted to be among us. Oh, I can't go to Pharaoh and tell him anything. God, I stutter. I don't. And what if he asked me what your name was? Well, I will tell you my name. I'm Yahweh. I am that I am. That I am, that I am, that I am. Well, God, I need to see you, but you're telling me that I'm going to die if you see you. I'll show myself to you. read John 1:14, the Word becomes flesh and dwells among us, and we beheld him. And Jesus just living among us. The Holy Spirit then in John 21 being breathed on his disciples. Now the Holy Spirit is in us. God has always just wanted to dwell among his people. All right? That's the kingdom vision. Now we're going to go like a DJ. We're going to pull the record back, okay? And then we're going to push it back forward. So we got to back up to Matthew 25, I believe it is. All right? I am. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when do we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When do we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? When do we see you sick or in prison and visit you? Now remember, this is a parable. I know it's Jesus talking, but he's telling a parable. Who is the speaker in the parable? Well, Jesus is telling the parable, but who's the speaker? The king. Who's ever heard of a first century king whose brother was in prison? Let alone a president or a king today. Who's ever heard of a first century king who would tell people, especially in the Jewish culture, okay, who would tell people, come and visit the sick and touch them, when a whole load of the Levitical law would tell them you're unclean when you do that? Here Jesus is saying, everything you've learned has got to be unlearned, because I'm fulfilling the law. Not the law the way you think it is, taking it to the next level of Levitical, clericism or an analytical spirit. But instead, I'm taking you to this place where we bring healing to people, wholeness to people. We set people free. We address their needs. And if you've done it for the least of these, my brothers, you've done it for me. Now, a couple of you know this because I told you the story, but I have to tell the story tonight. About maybe a month ago, all the change started happening in World Vision. Michael Chipwood, the founder of Team World Vision, went up in World Vision culture, overall church engagement. Rusty's now the national director. Now, Chipwood is seeing stuff he's never seen before, and we're not live streaming, so I can say the story. So he calls me up and he says, have you seen the new signage that so-and-so just printed and is using in church events? And I said, is it the signage that says, whatever you do to the least of these, you've done it to me? And Chipwood says, yeah. And I said, I've seen it. He said, what do you think about that? And I said, well, it's not biblical. Whatever you've done to the least of these, you've done to me. Let me tell you why it's not biblical. And why Chipwood, who already the Holy Spirit was speaking to him, has pulled all that signage. The church always treats the poor, the broken, the sick, the imprisoned as the least of these. And we're over here, we're the church. You're in the least of these, we're the church. But think about the dangerous power of the phrase, my brothers. That means that when you see somebody hurting or broken, you're willing to reach out to them and to make them family. You're willing to view them as potential family. That's what happened with us and Mr. Steve. We knew for 2 years that he was supposed to live with us, but we had no idea how to pull that off. You guys walked that journey with us. Because, there'd be nights, man, to be crying at the table, but she didn't know. There'd be nights I was breaking down, I didn't know how we were going to do it. But God knew the gravity of the least of these. My brothers kept pulling us closer and closer and closer until the least of these doesn't exist anymore. It's just my brothers.
Well, these are good-looking kids on this table. Looks like some of them are getting water to drink because they're alive.
That's good.
There's something in them that's very vital. I'm looking at their glowing faces and glowing eyes.
That's good,
There's joy
brother.
in those children.
That's good, brother.
It is good news.
King will answer them, truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me. Okay, now I'm teaching a lot, I'm getting passionate, but I am on track still. Revelation 21 vision, remember that? This is the beginning of it. This is it, I really believe that. From Matthew 25 to the Great Commission in Matthew 28, this is the vision of it. But here's another problem. This is all external action. Feeding, watering, clothing, visiting. That's all stuff that you do, right? Look at Matthew 5 now. I believe I got Matthew 5 next door. You have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says you fool will be liable to the hell of fire. This is the greatest moral teaching in history, the Sermon on the Mount. Okay, Matthew's account, I think, is the most accurate account that we have in the Gospels. And here, in every stage, Jesus puts out a law, and then he kind of undercuts it and lifts it up in a brand new way. You've heard it say don't murder, but I say to you, if you think angry thoughts towards your brother, you're guilty of murder. You've heard it said, you shall not commit adultery, but I say to you that if you've looked on another woman or man with lustful thoughts, that you are guilty. You may hide behind the law, eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth for a tooth. But I say, if somebody strikes you in the cheek, you give them the other also. You refuse to let their violence become your violence and control the conversation. That's the power of my agape love. And then you kind of just, I think I got the fulfillment here, which I already hit, and then the one that kind of ruins everything. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Now we're back to that prayer time. Well, it can't be perfect. Oh, doesn't he understand? Doesn't he understand? And then you got your little Bible commentary, a little letter that pops up. The word perfect in the Greek also means complete. Yep, it does. But it also means perfect. Kind of sucks. You can't escape it. Even my guy, oh, hold on real quick. Let me keep teaching if that's okay. That'd be all right? Thanks, brother. Even my guy, Philip Yancey, who I love Philip Yancey, he's a wonderful writer. But he argues that that statement is a sarcastic statement. Oh, you must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. But that doesn't fly with me. Because Jesus just unmade us all the way through Matthew 5. Then he's going to drop with a sarcastic joke before he goes into giving, praying, and fasting. No way. It is impossible for us to live this out. But through the resurrected Christ, the impossible becomes possible. His perfect love transforms our hearts and makes it possible for us to look at a woman and know that girl is hot, that dude is good looking, and not think a lustful thought towards them. To look at an opportunity where we want to just say, these are my boundaries. You can't take this from me. I deserve this. We'll even do it when we're in need. Well, I'm in need. The Bible tells you, you've got to take care of me. We're crazy. Our pride, we can flip it. We can do it any way you want, you know. Sorry. Pride. I'm telling you, you've got to see Jesus. Be transformed by him. And then, when you feed, water, clothe, visit, you take care of all those in Matthew 25, those external works, where will they begin from? All right. So even when you read Matthew 25, that's a holiness passage. And I've got a video I'm going to show you, which I'm hoping works. And it's from the great biography by Frank McCourt, not the former owner of the Dodgers, but the Frank McCourt who lived in abject poverty in Limerick, Ireland. And many of his his awful life story. It did. This is a clip from that movie. And in this clip, the school teacher is going to make an argument about how they should meet the needs of Frank McCourt, whose dad is an alcoholic. Okay? And he comes home one day and his boys don't have shoes that work. So what they're wearing are shoes with chunks of an old bicycle tire nailed to the bottom of the shoe. And I'm laughing. It's so terrible. And I feel so heartbroken for these boys. And this is the clip I want you to watch, okay? That's Frank.
Where are your shoes?
Don't know, sir.
Of course you know why. Where are they? Did you know you left on your shoes this morning? You come to school without shoes, did you? How many times have you been told about walking the street in your bare feet? Huh? And got out the bare feet of your Bible. Good man. In this class. I get here in another instruction. Is there any boy in this class who thinks he's perfect? If so, raise your hands. Is there any boy here now who has money in the Lord to be spending on shoes? Raise your hands. No. Boys in this class who have no shoes at all. And it's not their fault. It's not their shame. Our Lord had no shoes. He died shoeless. You don't see him hanging on the cross sporting shoes. Do you, boys?
No, sir.
What is it you don't see your Lord doing? Hanging on the cross sporting shoes. What?
It takes all my might not to laugh until I cry when I watch that clip. And it's incredibly funny in the book when he says, because it's a solemn moment, you know, our Lord died shoeless. Sometimes that's what we do. We see somebody suffering, and what we say to them is, hey, buck up. Jesus suffered worse than you did. Everything's going to be okay. Well, I don't have a clip because this isn't in the movie. But his next teacher, who's the hardest teacher he ever has, sees that he doesn't have shoes. This is the next year. And he organizes a raffle shoe drive to raise money for these boys to have shoes. And it is one of the biggest moments in Frankie's life. And Frankie becomes a super famous writer. This guy won the Pulitzer Prize. He credits it all the way back to that teacher. Now think about that. This is a teacher in a school in abject poverty in Limerick, Ireland. But because he lived out this love for somebody else, it unlocked a potential in them. Because love is the most powerful force. And it changes people's lives. You every day have the opportunity to give it. Some of you, it's no more talk needed. No, time to serve. Time to step up and serve others. Time to stop waiting to be asked and to get to work. Some of you are serve-aholics, and it's time for you to talk. It's time for you to pour into others. To stop hoarding your time and your mental space and opening up yourselves to the suffering and the pain and the questions of others. Because in that moment, Jesus will show up and transform lives through you. So I want to talk a little bit now about, and I'm not going to talk super long on this. So I'm asking you to indulge me. Probably 7 minutes it's going to take me. Okay? And then we're done. But I want to talk to you about child sponsorship, this thing that we said yes to at the beginning of tonight. It is Global Sponsorship Sunday for World Vision. We've never done this in the history of World Vision, 65 years old. What we've always done is try to convince churches to sponsor kids, and then we set up a Sunday. But instead, this year we said, you know what, we're going to do one Sunday, that's it. And we're going to try to get 30 churches to join us. And we've had 250 churches nationally join us. Yeah, it is huge. And Lindsay's been in the field. She's met her sponsor kid with me. Sponsoring kids, and it has changed our families' lives. There are times when we are rocking our sponsor kid relationship, and there are times when we're not, when we miss a holiday like Christmas, or we don't send them a note, you know. And I know a few of you are already sponsoring kids. But the reason why I thought of child sponsorship is we're sitting in this moment in Luke 6, where Jesus is talking about love, and he's talking about serving the poor. And he says, in fact, his last line there, if I could go there to it. This is supposed to be up there, sorry. I've got my animations all wrong. But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. To the one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And for the one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who begs from you, and from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. If you love those who love you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same amount. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for He is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. Should that God and world overlap, okay? He is kind to the ungrateful and the evil, so be merciful, even as your Father is merciful. So what does it mean to sponsor a kid? Well, this is my sponsor kid, Ava, and her sister, Angelica. You've heard many stories about them. That's when I met her for the first time. That's Halima, her sister, who was married at 12 years old, okay? And told me Ava would be as well. That's Minyangira, her Christian World Vision representative. That's Josh Alday, a pastor in the back who was soccer, ended up in his soccer ball, kept coming over in our area, drove me crazy. That is Katerina and Angelica, Ava's mom, who walked a 10-kilometer walk 3 times a day for dirty water that was killing them, and passed on to Halima that inheritance, and Halima passed it to Ava. She escaped it when she got married at 12. That's how these girls think. Man, if I get married, I'm out. You know, and then they marry into this whole other life, which is impossible for us to imagine. You know. And so this is last summer with Amanda coming and spending time. She did not get to meet one of our sponsored kids, which is a huge regret of mine. But she hung out with Michael Forsberg's twin brothers, who were sponsored kids. And she spent 2 hours just drawing with them and writing notes with them, and was amazed at what they were learning from their school. And so when you sponsor a kid, you fill out this packet, all the kids that are, actually we have some set up in the back, and at the end of tonight, I'm going to ask that everybody at least walk to the table and just look at one kid card, if that's cool. You can open it up, and there's a story about this child's life in there. It's not as specific as you're going to want it to be. We have to be that way for child protection purposes. But once the letters start coming back, you'll get more information about your sponsor kid. And the best thing to do is to ask specific questions. The more specific the questions, the better the answers you get. But a sponsor-child relationship begins when you fill out this card. You tear it off, you give it to me, And then you'll get a welcome packet. And your relationship with your sponsored child will begin. And it's really low maintenance, high reward. You're going to get regular information from them. The more you write them, the better it is for the sponsor. Again, it's like a huge event in their life to get a letter from their sponsor. I'll talk about that in a minute. But those monies don't go to the sponsored kid. It's not money from your pocket to the kid's pocket. Those monies get pooled together in an Acts chapter 2 style way, where at the end of Acts 2, everybody's all their stuff. It's kind of like the co-op approach, if you think about it. All their goods get poured into one thing, and that's a vision plan for the entire community. And that's called pooling. You've heard me talk about Moses before. That's the vision map for the Bartaba-Borwisa community. That's Moses showing Brianna and Chrissy the vision map. And then these are the questions addressed in the vision map. All right, where do we want to be in 15 years? We want these roads, water projects, schools, churches, health centers. We want all this stuff, right? Well, these are the questions that are going to get us there. Who are we? Who's World Vision? And who are you, villagers? What does it mean to live in your community, to be you, to suffer through what you've suffered? And then the final question here is, how are we going to transition? How are we going to manage and accomplish all this? But how is World Vision going to exit and let you then have ownership over your community? This isn't colonialism. We're not coming in and setting up some dependence on World Vision. We want to unleash you into your full potential. And so step number one, which we are very familiar with, so these slides are brief, is clean water, water, sanitation, and hygiene. And so there's a picture of what it looks like when Ava is carrying water in a 40-pound jerry can. She's alone. She's got a stick in her hand to ward off people who would rape her or kidnap her, or animals that would rush her, which was a big thing Ava dealt with, or hyena attacks on her walk. She would often have to abandon the water, run for her life, and then come back and get it again. So Ronald Amolo in the orange shirt is the water expert in Bartabwa, Kenya, where I go every summer. And I Facebook message with him regularly. We met Samuel. He was at the church gathering. He works in Bartabwa. I have a deep relationship with these men and women. They're amazing. They love Jesus. He's the one that planned the water projects. And you've heard I tell them about this project, right? That's the slow sand filter. That's Sheila and the other village leaders that led the creation of that massive pond. All that water goes into this filter, and it all gets pumped in this tank. Now, once the community starts getting clean water, that's when the exciting stuff takes place. These women walk 20 kilometers every day round trip. Now they walk 20 minutes. And they have the whole rest of their day to do what? Well, many of them are getting an education. Kids are getting an education, and adults are getting an education in starting businesses. And I want to talk about both those angles. First, education. Remember when I told you the story? You remember this picture? Anybody remember this one? I asked Ava what was life like not being able to go to school. Think about how jacked up my question is. What is life like not being able to go to school? What's a kid in a Maasai community going to know about going to school? I can't even ask a question. That's how Western my mind is, right? So when I asked that question, it offended her. And she grabbed that coloring book out of my hand, which Sydney had sent to her. And she started to color in that to show me she could stay within the lines, which she was learning at her 1 hour a week Sunday school class, who her father, who'd accepted Christ and planted a church, was leading every week. But now we've got schools that look like this. Huge communities of kids led by teachers that are teaching real math, real science, real reading, real writing, real art, with the love of Jesus integrated into it all in this really fresh way. This is the Kwikwi Primary School. And right there's Amanda at the Kwikwi Secondary School in Bartabwa, all right, where that's a dormitory for girls so they can move into that dorm and live there while they go to school and not have to walk where they risk child marriage and rape and all these other dangers along the way. And you guys will remember my brother Maz back. Sturdy walls, tile bathrooms, real toilets. Like, it's an incredible facility, all right?
What's the one thing right now? Right now, this week.
Okay, I was just show this. Sorry.
You love about teaching.
And this week,
Yes, yeah. One thing.
I love teaching the students to apply to understand and also to have it as an impact in Israel. And this year, I teach history, I love Christ, I teach the Word of God. That will bring a motivating factor in their lives to see that the future is right for them.
And this is a school where he's now vice principal. That's his principal. Secondary school. These kids, I got to give them a pep talk, which I'm never going to show you that video because I was so nervous and I was so corny in it. But I was rocked and how powerful. And when I was speaking, they were ready to take the country, man. I mean, they were just, these kids, there's not better soil to invest in than these kids, all right? But that's not it. It's also your sponsorship monies fund economic development. Now, these are two Maasai warriors who are wearing Western clothing. It's not because they're trying to be Western. They're no longer herding cattle. They can't because they've overgrazed all the valleys where they live. And now they're just dust and cattle can't live. So World Vision experts have taught them how to do agriculture, crop rotations in sustainable ways. So these guys hand dug that trench. It's 2 kilometers long. I said, did you use a tractor for that? And these boys were like this. And one of them, it's not a boy, it's a woman. There's 3 of them, 2 men and 1 woman are in business together. And she was down there, dude, like it was beast mode. And where does that water go? That water goes here to these onion plots that get grown and they become mature, and they become mature onion plots. And these guys are shipping these onions across the river to the big towns like Arusha and Dar es Salaam and the other big towns in the region and selling onions, right? That's the chief of their tribe who accepted Jesus 3 months before, all right? So he'd been a Christian for 3 months. This is what I love about World Vision. But he came up to me and he said, he was perplexed because he said, why, my brother, do you have only one wife? He was dead serious, you know. So the World Vision staff member who's Kendall, who is like legit, this guy, he comes up to me and he doesn't know me yet. So he's like, you okay with that question? And I said, oh, I'm totally good with that question. And he said, hey, he just started following Jesus about 3 months ago. And I'm not telling him to divorce his wives or anything like that. What do you think about that, Johnny? And I said, well, I say, let's just let him follow Jesus and let Jesus transform his life from the inside out. I think you got the right approach. And that's the World Vision approach, is to give them Jesus and let Jesus do what he needs to do and to change and to transform as he needs to do it. And that's not copying out. That's the way it needs to be. There are other nonprofits that won't give kids clean water until they accept Jesus. There are other nonprofits. I'm holding back right now, guys, who will not give kids food until they become a member of a church. You need to hear me right now. World Vision doesn't play that. And so I'm going to talk about how we share the gospel in a minute. But my last story about these guys is I asked them, what was it like when you saw water coming up that trench for the first time? And they said, we gave glory to our Savior, Jesus, because we knew that our search finally was over. Because we can say all we want, but what they really need is the living water of Jesus. Yes, they do, but not dead, okay? Without water, no one survives. You can plant 1 million churches, start 1 million schools. If they don't have clean water, no one survives. 100% of Americans have access to clean water. And if we don't, which I got a friend who lives in Culver City who hates it when I say that. We don't. Because in Michigan, in Flint, Michigan, there was the crisis, right? But what is that? That's a failure of leadership and infrastructure, not of ability to have clean water. And we got a process where we can hang those leaders out to dry and right that ship, which needs to happen. Almost done. This is a Macoba, Village Community Bank. So these villagers begin to earn money through their businesses. But where do they take the money? They put them in a bank. The bank, Howard, it's like something you would design. I've never made that connection. It's a massive, solid steel lockbox. It takes an army of people to carry it. It has 4 padlocks on it. 4 different village leaders each have a key. So they can only open it when they all come together. Everybody's money goes in, and when it goes in and it goes out, it all happens through song. So these ladies right here are writing down in the ledger. And one of them is saying, let me go to this one picture. This is my favorite one. She's saying, I've got the deposit. She's got the deposit. I'm putting it in the bank. She's putting it in the bank. I'm saving up for a sewing machine. She's saving up for a sewing. And it's the most awesome. You know how you deposit your check by phone? Way, way stupid, boring, not fun compared to what they do every week in Kenya and in Tanzania, man. It's awesome. Incredible. Finally, we are raising up indigenous leaders in the community that are changing things. Here's two of them. There's Ronald and Samuel. Barnabas was just promoted overall child sponsorship in Bartabla. All right. Here's Masale, who is over collecting video stories of the kids that you sponsor. That's his job. Was raised in a hut. Sponsor kid. Got him to school. Now he's providing digital stories of sponsor kids. And then you guys have seen this a million times, but I told Ronald, wherever you go, I'm going to follow you, man, because I see Jesus in your walk. And one last thing, which I've not talked a lot about. I know I'm getting up on 6 o'clock, but I want to talk about Christian witness, guys. I want to explain how we share the gospel. If anybody ever says, well, World Vision doesn't share the gospel, that's a lie. World Vision doesn't make you accept Christ to get clean water, okay? But this is a great picture of how we do it. These are Maasai warriors. They're animistic pagans. This is Becky. And this is one of our World Vision staff, Samuel. All right? He's sharing. He's speaking. He's sowing seed. These guys, they get to hear it. They get to hear it in a way they can understand from an indigenous leader. Not from a white guy going and telling everybody what to believe, which Billy Graham did for years. And I'm naming him by name, not to throw stones at him at all, because he meant well and he did good work. A lot of people accepted Christ. But when he would leave, there was a 98% failure rate of disciples walking away from the faith afterwards, because they didn't have the indigenous leaders there shepherding them and loving them. We are coming at it from a different perspective. And so here is the source book, Jesus, the source of living water. It's a 92-page book. If you're doing the slow sand filter, Ronald is holding regular meetings with all the leaders in that village, right? Well, one of the things he sows into them is one of the lessons from Jesus, the source of living water. And what it is a scientific, hygienic lesson about how to clean, how to wash hands, how to take care of your menstrual cycle, how to have all these tough issues that we got to deal with, right? But then it'll be coupled with a scripture that speaks to the spiritual application of that. And we are seeing tons of people come into knowledge of the faith through this teaching. And I shared with it about 3 months ago about Pastor Mwanga, who in Zambia actually is seeing a huge breakout in men following Jesus, because he's sharing it with them as they work on the water development in Zambia, which Zambia is doing class-leading water development. And my last story is Moses Pillay. I don't think I've ever told you guys about Moses. This is Moses number 2, Steve. I told you a while back I was going to tell you about the second Moses. This is him. Moses was one of the 44 first sponsored kids World Vision did in Kenya. The first time he heard the words, "I'm praying for you," were in a letter written by his sponsor from the United States. The first time he ever heard the word dream, would this guy ever be a gathering minister? Oh my goodness. The first time he ever heard the word dream was from his sponsor. And when I met him, it sounded amazing. And you know how we are. We're kind of skeptical about people's stories sometimes. I'm not saying I am, but maybe I am. And right then, he opened up his briefcase and pulled out the letters and showed me the original letters. He carries with him, he got his PhD from UC Berkeley. He got a second PhD from Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena. He could be working at the United Nations. He's not. He's working not World Vision Kenya, World Vision Tanzania, because he believes in World Vision's policy of taking people from a tribe and putting them into a community where that tribe is not engaged in politics or in any conflict. so they never think that the World Vision staff is playing favorites. Isn't that brilliant? That's how World Vision thinks. And he is helping Maasai men and women step into fullness of life because they're dealing with hard stuff. The Maasai are dealing with really hard stuff right now. The world is overgrazed. They're kind of where the American cowboy was at the turn of the century. The world is being fenced up. And that way of life is coming to an end. It doesn't mean that you can't save strong cultural aspects, but people are dying. Kids are dying. They don't have food. They don't have water. And Moses wants to help walk that walk. That's why he always wears traditional Maasai garb and speaks in the indigenous dialects. One of these guys could be your sponsor kid. That's what I'm saying. That's my prayer. So to close today, I want to say thank you for giving me your love. You guys give me your love every week, but especially in a week when I know that I sound like Gollum up here, speaking a word, or a Muppet, or something. But also, I want to encourage you. I think that, and this is the thing I've never done and never got to tell you about. I know our job. I love these kids and I love these leaders. I speak the language. Not as good as I should, but I do. I want somebody from our church family going with me next year when I take a team to our top. That's my vision. I want you to go and I want you to have your earth rocked, because no matter how well you think you get World Vision's development, hear me when I say I still don't get it. It operates on a scale like you can't imagine, and it is powered by the love of Jesus. I believe that if you could see what God is doing there, filters off, face to face, you will come home to LA and you will see your home differently. That's always been my argument. Churches say to me, we got so many poor at home, John. Why do we care about Africa? I have pastors say that to me all the time. Jesus said, go into all the world, make disciples of all nations. Then he said in Acts 1:9, begin in Judea, Samaria, and move to the ends of the earth. You have to have a global vision if you ever want to have a healthy local vision. If all you have is a local vision, it will never grow into a global vision. You may convince yourself you have a global vision, but a global vision has to end up in your calendar, in your budget. There has to be a way you can actually serve these kids. I believe that if we could serve these kids and be a part of this community, it would change our lives here. Beloved, I need to be real with you, and I know I'm taking extra time, but I have to. God is on my heart right now. I've asked for missionaries to come from our own denomination. I've been largely rejected or, oh, sorry, Johnny, because people know that we're a smaller church, and they get a better gig someplace else they're going to go, and I don't blame them. Well, I've just had this awakening that we are connected to the greatest Christian development work being done on planet Earth. Why don't we just go all in with it? And then I got Sergey. Remember Sergey 3 years ago? He played that song out of tune on his guitar and talked about being in tune. He's coming in July and he's going to come share with us. It's going to be awesome. So, Nazarene guy, love that brother. But let's do something now. Walk past that table. Check out those kids. Read those bios. You can't take the packets out with you and think about it, because the kid is on the packet, not on any other packet. That's the way World Vision does it. So the packets have an expiration date. So don't take it and think about it. Take it, look at it, sponsor the kid, tear it off. You get a water bottle today if you do that. Or if you're like unsure, talk to me about that, okay? In fact, thank you, Jesus, he's meeting all my needs. I have, for somebody who wants to sponsor a kid and is not sure where the money's coming from, I have right now your first $40. It's actually $39, but I got your first $40 for that first month's payment. And then I'll give it to you right now today, okay? Dear God, we have, I think, an amazing church family. I love my church family, and I love what you're doing through us. We just went through a deep, long, and intense teaching from Luke 6 to Revelation 21 to Matthew 25, back to Jesus getting our hearts in Matthew 5. Father, we want to love the least of these, our brothers. We want to invite people into our families in ways that we can understand and frankly handle. But we don't feel capable. Will you give us the love that we need to be obedient for the kingdom and ask the questions today? In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Yeah, amen. That's it. The offering plates in the back. If you brought tithes and offerings this week, if you did, that's awesome. Give them a joy. But guys, high five, hug it up. That's the perfect song. Dance it up.